Welcome to Beers, Balls, and where the beers are cold, the Sox are loud, and the takes come with just enough hope to keep showing up. Man, this has been a long off season. Almost no big Sox moves, no crazy headlines. Just me reading rumors 10 times a day. The Red Sox have made the best offer. The Red Sox are close. The Red Sox are in talks. But somehow, nothing would happen. It just turned into time passing by slowly. But wait, Red Sox baseball is back. And suddenly, life has meaning again. And I'm not gonna lie. This off-season, well, it didn't really go as planned. I mean, we had some really high expectations, as always. But boy, did we get humbled. All right, let's start with first base. Since last season, we knew that this was a position that we needed to address. And with our unreasonably high expectations, some of us, myself included, we're hoping for, a reunion with Kyle Schwarber. And what did we get in reality? Wilson Contreras. I mean, he's a good player. It's just not really what we had in mind. But jokes aside, having a first baseman at all, that is a major upgrade compared to last season. And third base, that one hurts. I mean, I really hoped that Alex Bregman was going to come back, but that didn't happen. I mean, it's unfortunate because he's a leader in the clubhouse, great veteran presence for the young guys coming up. He's got championship experience, and that's always valuable. But anyway, what we ended up with was Caleb Durbin. And if you would have asked me last year, I'd have no idea what this guy's stats were. I mean, I heard about him a little bit in the playoffs. I understand the Milwaukee fans love him. But like any responsible fan, as soon as the news broke, I Googled him. And guess what? The first thing I see is this photo. Yeah, that's right. Cheesehead photo. Because Wisconsin, I guess. Anyway, I'm just left with more questions than answers at this point. Before getting into Red Sox baseball, let's talk a little bit about the World Baseball Classic. This isn't just baseball. This is beers, balls, and bros. Because these guys are not playing for a contract. They're playing for their country. They're playing alongside their guys. They're playing for their people. They're playing with their brothers. And you can really feel it. Let's get started with the champions, Venezuela. First of all, congratulations to them. And these guys did not just win the tournament. They wanted it more than everybody else. Passionate. Those are the words that suit them. They played their hearts out. In moments where other teams would have been mentally broken, these guys were driving in runs. And in the final, they overcame demons from 3 years prior when they were leading against the United States in the quarterfinals and the United States hit a grand slam to eventually knock out Venezuela. This time around, they had to handle a 2-run game-tying homer in the bottom of the 8th. And what did they do? Came right back in the top of the 9th, took the lead, and sealed the victory. And now let's take a look at the one team that was able to beat the champions. The Dominican Republic. Now these guys have one of the best lineups ever assembled. You've got Soto and Vladdy Jr. at the heart of your lineup. That probably means you're winning even before the first pitch is thrown. These guys are absolutely stacked. And then in the semifinal against the US, a lot of people were expecting fireworks. We didn't exactly get that. But what we did get was a duel between two of the best teams in the tournament. And the pitching for the United States was extraordinary. Whitlock. And that was ultimately the difference. This, what we're talking about right here, is what the World Baseball Classic is all about. And then there's Italy. These guys are hanging out in the dugout, drinking espresso shots every time they hit a homer, and half the guys don't even speak Italian. But they're having a blast, and they're winning too. You gotta respect it. And you know what the craziest part is? The Red Sox were everywhere. Let's start with Roman Anthony. He wasn't even supposed to be here. He was a late call-up, and he was just happy to be invited. But once he got out there, he started doing his thing. Driving in runs, getting on base constantly, and specifically in the semi-final against the Dominican Republic, he hit the game-winning homer casually off a lefty who was brought in to get him out. He's doing this at 21 years old. I mean, I don't know. This is not a moment. This is an announcement. For any non-Red Sox fans that were living under a rock or something for the last couple of years, yeah, now you know who he is. I am excited to see a full season of this guy. And that MVP talk might not be too far away. And then there's Wilyer Abreu. We know about the Gold Glove defense, but now the bat showing up, that is scary. A homer against Japan in the quarterfinal, a homer against the US in the final. Big moments, but even bigger swings. This was not a hot streak. This was a guy who was showing up when it mattered. And Duran, 3 homers in 4 games. We haven't seen that in a while. And then Yoshida, 6 RBIs and hitting everything. We had our bullpen out there locking down opponents. Whitlock, Weissert, they were nails. We could honestly keep going because Rafaela was out there playing spectacular defense as always. One thing's for sure, this team showed up. One of the cooler things that I heard about is that players that weren't on their national teams and were playing spring training games would leave after their spring training games and go watch World Baseball Classic games just to root for their guys. That's kind of why this is Beers, Balls, and Bros.
Predictions, overreactions, and just enough confidence to sound wrong later. This is the pregame show.
All right, so today we are going to get into the Red Sox pitching staff, which is going to be fire. And therefore, we need to cool down with a nice cold beer first. Thank you, production team, for always keeping me hydrated. Oops. Here we go. All right, so let me tell you guys a little bit about what we're drinking here today first. It's a black and tan beer. And for those of you who don't know, black and tan is basically a porter beer mixed with a lighter beer. And in this case, it's a lager. And I know, kind of sounds like the guy who invented this was maybe a little drunk or ran out of beer in his bar and put 2 beers together to fill up the pint, and it turned out to be okay. So, without further ado, let's give it a taste. Okay, so I'm personally a big porter fan, and it has that aroma. You can get the notes of the coffee and the cocoa, which is great. But after swallowing it and kind of getting the aftertaste, it's a little plain. So I wouldn't call it great. In baseball terms, the way we always rank beers here, this would probably be, it would be a single, but not just any single. It'd be like a hard hit off the Green Monster, where you have high hopes at the beginning because you got that aroma, you got the flavors going, and you like it, and you got hopes that this is going to be an extra bagger. But then when you turn and look at the infield, you realize the guy hesitated, went back to first, and it's just a single. And that's kind of what this beer makes me think of. Well, it does go down easily, feels pretty smooth in your mouth, so maybe if you drink enough of these, you're going to start making World Series predictions in March. Not that I would ever do that. But anyway, I don't get paid for this, so if you want to see what this beer is, take a look in the comment sections below. All right, let's talk about our upgraded rotation. But I know it might be too early to tell. Get it? Early? Sorry, it was served on a platter. I had to. If that joke didn't land, unlike last year's rotation, this one definitely will. Jokes aside, the beer's talking, my bad. This pitching rotation is really, really good. And our rotation is led by Garrett Crochet. There's not a lot else I can add here. We all know what I'm gonna say. What? He's gonna have over 200 strikeouts. He's gonna have the best ERA in baseball. He's gonna win the AL Cy Young Award. Yes, all those things are true. So we're not gonna spend a lot of time on this. It's just, all we've gotta say is he is the ace of the staff. He's the leader. He is absolutely dominant when he's on, and he just destroys the Yankees, which is great too. But what I really wanna say with this is, Tariq Skubal, you better watch out. Let's start talking about the additions now. So we got Sonny Gray in a trade, and I'm not gonna lie, when I read that we traded for Sonny Gray, I had some mixed feelings going on there, because at first I said, oh wow, Sonny Gray, we have a solid pitcher here, and I was really thinking about his time with Oakland when he was great, and then I thought about, wait a second, that was like 10 years ago. And then I started to think, he's been past a couple of other teams. He's had some up and down seasons. He even played for the Yankees. And I'm like, is this a good thing? But after some careful thought and also just having to accept it, I realized, you know what? He's a veteran presence in that dugout. He's going to be there for the young guys, the young pitchers who need some orientation. We know that things can get weird in the dog days. And these guys need that compass that keeps them straight. And that's Sonny Gray. So he's definitely a solid pitcher. If we can get the best out of him at an age 36 season, that's just an extra. But in October, don't really know what to expect of him because we haven't really seen him get there. He's been there a couple of times, pitched a few games, but he's never had a deep playoff run. But that's not really his fault. That's kind of the fault of the teams that he's been on more than anything. Sorry, I need to get my cat under control. All right, so back to what we were talking about, October. Talking about October, Ranger Suarez comes to mind. Unlike Sonny Gray, Ranger Suarez is a proven dominant pitcher in the playoffs, which we can really use. So that's one of the attributes or one of the things that I most like about getting Ranger Suarez. But aside from that, this guy can really pitch. This guy doesn't beat you with velocity. He's gonna beat you by painting. And he throws 6 different pitches. It's all those different looks he gives you. He keeps batters off balance the entire time. So if this guy can get on early in the season and stay healthy, whoo, American League East, better watch out. All right, so we've covered 4 slots in the rotation so far. That leaves us with just one more. The problem here is we've got 2 pitchers to talk about. Now, as of today, we know that Conley Early has been given the nod to be the number 5 starter for the Red Sox. I do not think that that's set in stone. The season's a very long one, but I personally am very happy with the decision. I think he was great in his debut last year. I think he was really good against the Yankees in the playoffs, where it wasn't a fortunate ending, but it was the defense letting us down, and to be fair, it was all my fault. If you don't know what I'm talking about, take a look at the video in the description below. But this year, you can see the work he's put in off season. He's put on some weight. He's got some extra velocity on his fastball, which are just pointing towards him having an even better season than his debut season. Now, we've got to see what he can do as far as longevity, how long he can keep going. But for now, it's really promising. I'm really excited to see what we can get out of him. And at the same time, I don't want to take away any credit from Johan Oviedo. And I understand that the people that are doubting what we're doing is, why would you trade for somebody and then put him in as a long reliever for the season? Now, this is just the start of the season. We don't know what the long-term plans are to start, but we also know that, admittedly so, there are a few things he needs to work on. It's his command, because once he's in the strike zone, he's got really good swing and miss rates. But the problem is he's not always getting in the strike zone. So while he irons those little wrinkles out, we can stick with him in the long relief position. I'm fine with that. If that eventually turns into him finding an opportunity to start if somebody potentially gets hurt, or if some start is cut short, then great. And we can see what he develops into. I think there's high potential there. I think that's the word everybody uses around Johan Oviedo. Potential, 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 because he's got nasty stuff. Okay, I know that the segment was all about the rotation, but I am really excited about the rest of this pitching staff. We've got a bunch of guys in the wings waiting to come up and have their opportunity to show what they can do. We've got an amazing bullpen that we know will lock down any team out there. We've got Chapman closing and Whitlock as a setup man. We're good. The experts, including myself, agree that this pitching staff is one of the best in baseball. And I'll take it one step further. This Red Sox team is winning the World Series, but I'll tell you why. It's because I've already figured out what the superstition is for this year that's going to help us get there. Find out next week on our next episode.
Appreciate you for sticking around for all 9 innings. Keep the Sox loud, the hope alive, and we'll catch you next week. Same time, same bull.